Well, nobody ever said on the road to WrestleMania there wouldn't be a couple of potholes. Let's talk about it. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Rally Check, here with your February 5th, 2021 SmackDown review. How's it going? There's not going to be a 205 Live review because I'm not really doing 205 Live reviews, and the stuff that was happening on 205 Live that had to do with NXT and the Dusty Classic, I'm pretty sure is over because we got Vengeance Day coming, and that's all that was leading up to. So it's going to go back to the only actual, podcast that I drop is going to be the SmackDown review. And yeah, everything else is going to be premiere, everything else is going to carry on as it is. I thought they were going to carry out maybe one more match of the Dusty on this week's 205 Live, but no. So, no. I think I peeked in at 205 Live, and I think the Bollywood Boys are teaming with Ever Rise to take on some other people. And Daivari and Tony Nese are the OGs of the division now. Now that worked when Tyler Breeze did it for NXT. It doesn't work for 205 Live because nobody cares about that brand. Anyway, sorry, I have to apologize. It is the end of a very, very long week. I'm very tired, and I'm also a little congested, and it's also stupid o'clock in the morning when I'm recording this. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow when I got a fresher head on, get on with Kristen, review WandaVision that I haven't even watched yet at the point of this recording. So it is what it is. Now, I said in my NXT review that I would talk a little bit about the Royal Rumble before I get into SmackDown, and thankfully, there's only 5 matches, so I can give you my thoughts real short, really sweet, really quick. Jackson Baszler got the tag titles back from Charlotte and Asuka, which is fine. The Charlotte and Lacey Evans thing with Ric Flair and all that weirdness is very, very strange. Charlotte and Asuka at WrestleMania one more time could be good. Now, the other side of that coin is, as I said on NXT, Jackson Baszler have the titles again. Pretty sure that whoever wins the Women's Dusty Classic is going to take the belts off of them. But, I mean, Nia Jax shouldn't have any gold ever, let alone a job. And Baszler should be, I don't know, maybe not necessarily in a title picture, but feuding with somebody important, because when this team breaks up, her first feud is going to be with Nia Jax. So she's going to be shackled to Nia Jax for a good old long time. Now imagine trying to run down a field, trying to win a race, because any job is a race. You guys know, those of you that are still working out there, or those of you that were before COVID, know that the metaphor of the rat race for a job is a thing. So imagine trying to run a race shackled to Nia Jax. Fuck that. Now, I'm really, really hoping Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon win the Women's Dusty Classic, take the titles off Jackson Baszler, bring them to NXT so they can be rehabbed just like they did with the Cruiserweight Championship, and we will go from there. So this, at the moment, is not the worst thing in the world. Sasha defeated Carmella because of course she did, and it's February. Drew and Goldberg, a lot of people didn't like. A lot of people were, and I should say, I take my fair share of shots at Goldberg. It's that whole, oh my god, he shouldn't be wrestling anymore. Well, I'm not going to tell him he shouldn't be able to wrestle. Do I care to see him on my TV? Not really. Do I know that he's still a name? Yes, as long as he's putting people over. I don't mind when he squashed The Fiend. We don't need to talk about it. On a side note, Booker T wants to face Triple H in Saudi Arabia specifically. Anybody else seeing this anywhere? That's a weird bit of news to drop. Roman Reigns defeated Kevin Owens, and it did what it was supposed to do. I know there was a botch with the spot, and with the handcuffs, and the referee had to stop counting and all that kind of thing. I don't care. The match did what it needed to do. And by the way, for the AEW fans out there that say they stole the golf cart spot, I'm going to say it one more time. Raven, Big Show, Kane, and good old Jimmy Corderas would like a word with you. Both Rumbles were great. Even one of them had the right result. Edge winning is phenomenal. I know some people wanted Daniel Bryan. I get it. That would have been cool. Some people want Big E. That's... I wouldn't mind Big E going up against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I really wouldn't, and I still think we can get there. People wanted to do it specifically through the Rumble. I get it. That would have been cool. It's fine. Daniel Bryan, if you had told me a couple years ago that I would have been totally fine with Daniel Bryan winning the Royal Rumble, I would have lied. Or, sorry, I would have said that you were lying. There we go. That's how words work. But Edge is a feel-good thing, man. 11 years after the last time he won the Royal Rumble, coming back from the big injury and then coming back from the little injury, and the dude went the hour. The dude didn't do a Roman Reigns, come in at number 1, go take a nap for a while and come back at the end. The dude did the hour. And the moment with him and Christian, when they met up in the ring, if that didn't make you feel something as a wrestling fan, you don't have a soul. That is all I'm going to say about that. Really, really good, feel-good moment. Daniel Bryan will get there some other way, I'm sure. He will get himself into some sort of prominent spot at WrestleMania, deservedly so. And Big E is already the Intercontinental Champion, has a stack of potential challengers that are awesome, and could potentially be facing Christian at WrestleMania. So, and Big E, there's no shelf life on Big E. Big E can have a Rumble like next year or the year after or whatever. You can't say the same for Daniel Bryan. You can't say the same for Edge. This is where I'm coming around to it. Bianca Belair winning the Royal Rumble was some bullshit. And I'm not just saying that because I can't stand her. Because she's obnoxious as hell. Because they oversold her before the Rumble even started with the documentary. Because everybody we need to put over, we first need to tell their sad story. And we need to see them cry a bunch on SmackDown for beating Bayley, which is fine. And then we have to have her win the Rumble. And then we have to have her cry some more. And give her some promo time so she can cry some more. And then we're going to talk about what happened tonight. And it's a bit much. I have to clarify. As a wrestler, as a bell-to-bell wrestler, Bianca Belair is fine. As an athlete, she's a freak of nature. And that's to her credit. Her character is shit. The gimmick is shit. She makes me cringe on the microphone. I'm allowed to not like that she won the Rumble. A lot of people don't like that Edge won the Rumble. They wanted Daniel Bryan. They wanted Big E, etc. I don't like that Bianca Belair won. Here's the reason why. WWE fucked up twice last year. Now, I've come to the defense of it in a certain regard for NXT because I know what they were trying to do. It didn't work. It didn't work because fans have already decided that nothing Charlotte does will ever get acknowledged properly, which is fine. But realistically, if I take my cap off and look at the Rumble last year, Shayna Baszler should have won that match. She should have. It was her time. The whole world was on fire for her, and it would have been cool. I think it would have set up. The match that we got anyway. Because what was it? It was her and Becky in Empty Mania. I think coming off the momentum of winning the Rumble would have been a way easier way to do that. Now, they didn't do that. They gave it to Charlotte, and the idea being that she would take that championship. She would take that championship shot and put over Rhea Ripley, who was the hottest thing in NXT at the time, and deservedly so. Because what do I say? Rhea Ripley, fucking star. They didn't do that either. They had Charlotte beat her for the title and hang out in NXT for a while, and then eventually she put over Io Shirai, which was fine. But that didn't happen until later on down the line. It happened in a triple threat match. She wasn't the one pinned. It happened at In Your House, which was a really weird, experimental, empty building pay-per-view. Did not do nearly what they wanted it to do. So who'd they screw over? They screwed over 2 people. They screwed over 2 people in that match. They screwed over Baszler, and long-term they screwed over Rhea Ripley. They could have rectified either of those in this year's Rumble, and they didn't. They didn't do it with Shayna Baszler. I get it, because the same night they just put the tag team titles back on her, which is a shackle, as we've just spoken about. But that sort of puts her to the one side, because I'm tired of the main title being associated with the tag titles, and it gets messy, and we have the current Asuka situation. But they could have given it to Ripley, who came out there, again, this year, looking like a fucking star, after Belair had already had her chance to shine and be the Iron Woman of the entire match, be the superstar of the fucking match, laid her hands on everybody, chucked out Bayley, because, nobody cares about Job and Bayley anymore. But they did the 2 stupid spots. Her and Naomi's another one I could get onto, but I won't. They did that weird spot where they helped each other back into the ring. Stupid. Very, very, very stupid. Very, very, very stupid. Second of all, they did a very same thing, like, what did they call it on commentary? The gentlewoman's agreement, where her and Ripley both knocked each other out, and then both kind of said, oh, hey, let's not do anything crazy, and let's just get back in the ring. Let's not do anything crazy, like toss the other person out and win the fucking match, let alone, when they did both get tossed out, her feet touched the ground. Go back, look at all the screenshots, it's a fucking amazing. If it's... I'm really worried that the amount of people that are talking about the fact that she actually did get herself eliminated is going to make them debut Ripley on SmackDown. Now, Ripley on SmackDown versus Ripley on Raw is a good move. If they're going to take her off of NXT, which they shouldn't, put her on SmackDown instead of Raw, because everybody goes to Raw to die. But what's going to happen is if they put her on SmackDown, they're going to have her feud with Bianca Belair. She's going to contest the thing with the feet on the ropes, and they're just going to use a brand new debuting Rhea Ripley to put over Bianca Belair in her agenda on the way to WrestleMania, which is fucking terrible. And then you get her out there, and she's crying, Mama and Daddy, I did it. It's cringe. It's really cringe, and nobody will say it, or at least nobody will say it out loud, but we all know why they did it. Moving on. Other than that, the Rumbles were great. Even the return of like, Jillian and Tori Wilson and Hurricane was there, and Carlito, who's apparently been eating steroid apples, and it's all good. It's just one of those... I don't know. I don't like it. I don't. And I'm allowed to not like it, and that doesn't make me anything-ist. Could have given it to Ember Moon. Wouldn't have had a problem with that whatsoever. Could have given it to Alicia Fox. Never really gave Alicia Fox her due, did they? Other than making her the crazy chick that wears a lot of hats. No. It's just no. And we're going to talk very, very soon about why it's no. But we started off the night. That was my feelings on the Rumble. The Rumble itself. Now, two or three... I've always said this, especially with, in any big main event match, but especially in a Royal Rumble match. The ending of a match takes a couple of seconds. It doesn't negate the rest of the match. The rest of the women's Royal Rumble match, including some of the cameos from NXT, which obviously I'm going to pop for the cameos from NXT, because NXT is fucking great, and it's my brand. The rest of the women's Rumble was legitimately great. I am going against the grain a little bit from what I've seen on social media. The women's Royal Rumble, again this year, was better than the men's. I'm just putting it out there because there was a great story in the men's, but the women's one was just better. It's a little more exciting. The female characters in WWE right now, whether it's by their own volition or whether it's a conscious effort from WWE, the characters in the women's division across all three brands are more vibrant, more exciting, a little more... There's a little bit more of an intangible. I guess because the women's Rumble still has a newness to it, and I really liked it, and a lot of people did a lot of good work. I will say, as much as I don't like Bianca Belair winning, she did a lot of good work in that Rumble. The amount of dumb save spots where her and Naomi did the sit-up, and then her and Ripley did the, oh, let's not do anything crazy, like win the fucking match, were a bit terrible, and the hair thing is, I don't even know. But the women's Rumble was great. The men's Rumble was great as well. Really, really happy for Edge. Obviously, Roman and Owens was good. Drew and Goldberg did what it was supposed to do. Sasha, the agenda continues. And the women's tag titles are in an okay spot, I guess. Overall, pretty decent show. And they didn't do the cliche thing that I thought they were going to do, which was top and tail the pay-per-view with the two Rumbles. Having the two Rumbles with just one match in the middle meant that there was always something happening. There was always something more. Even the Rumble pay-per-view was like the Rumble match. There was constantly something new being thrown in your face, which really worked. Anyways, I've rambled for quite long enough about that, and I'm sure half of you have turned off the video by now. But if you haven't turned off the video, welcome to the SmackDown review. We started off with Roman coming out with Heyman and Jay. Never really addressed why Jay hasn't been there the past couple of weeks, which is weird. You figure in a stipulation where they definitely would have been able to have interference. Not having Jay at the pay-per-view was a little bit of a weird choice, I guess. But I mean, it does make Roman look better in the long run, even though Heyman was there with keys and whatever. Comes out, he says he's not a fan of recaps, but basically I beat Owens again on Sunday, like I said I was going to. I'm a man of my word. Apparently the future is Edge. I need to start looking to the future. He talks about his title. He talks about all the Edge winning the Rumble. talks about how he is the main event of WrestleMania, so he's insulted that Edge would have spent any time at all on Raw or on NXT. Now, when we get to the other person that won the other Rumble, they didn't mention NXT in the slightest, so a little bit of a dig there, but it's fine. It's time for you to not waste your time on Raw, not waste your time on NXT. It's time for you to come here to my show to beg me to be on the island of relevancy, so now I'm waiting. And he tells Paul to get Edge out here, and Paul starts talking to the ring techs and whatever, trying to get a message to them, and he's looking a bit frantic because Roman's already pissed off. Where's Edge's music? Where's Edge's pyro? Where is he? Da-da-da-da. Obviously, Edge doesn't come out. It's fine. Roman gets more and more pissed. He says, I guess Edge thinks I'm a fool, that I want to play games. The last man to play a game with me was Kevin Owens. He's gone now, and you have until the end of the night. So, Kevin Owens is gone now definitely means Kevin Owens isn't gone, doesn't it? First match of the night, and it's getting a bit repetitive, so I'm going to go into this kind of quickly, but it's Dominic Mysterio versus Baron Corbin. Now, before we talk about this, because we're talking about Baron Corbin, I should talk about the Knights of the Lone Wolf, specifically, what's his name? Cutler. I can't think of his first name now. But he was released, which kind of sucks. Now, the implication out there is that he had some heat in the back. I really hope it's not off the back of what Jackson Riker said, because, giving your opinion on Twitter shouldn't cost you your fucking career. I'm just saying. I mean, you're going to get Jackson Riker and Roseanne and that other guy in the States with the really, really awesome hair. They're all going to get together, probably sue Twitter, just like Steven Crowder is suing Facebook. Look it up. It's an amazing fucking story. But what it does is it leaves Wesley Blake with nothing to do, and on the same brand as Murphy, who we don't know whether he's going to be with the returning Seth Rollins. Now, this will surprise a lot of people, because you guys will know that I pretty much loathed the tag team when they were in NXT. I mean, I hold NXT to a higher standard. It's my brand, etc., etc., etc. I don't know that I would entirely mind Blake and Murphy reuniting on SmackDown just to be part of the roster. I don't think they'd be a main event concern, but, I mean, Murphy, other than teaming with Seth Rollins and other than that really cool set of matches that he had with Aleister Black, who's currently missing, what else has Murphy done? He won the Cruiserweight Championship in his home country, which is pretty fucking awesome. Let's be real. But other than that, I think he could benefit from the Blake and Murphy tag team getting back together. Now, what that does as far as Alexa Bliss, that tells a very interesting story as well. But she's on the other show doing really, really awesome things with The Fiend. Yes, they are awesome. Don't at me. Baron Corbin and Dominic Mysterio have a really generic fight, if I'm honest. He attacked Dominic and Ray on the rampway as they're making their way to the ring. They have a pretty generic match. I couldn't tell you what happened. After the commercial break, there's a neck breaker by Dom and a standing moonsault. Deep six by Corbin. Head scissor out of the ring by Dom. Suicide dive by Dominic on the outside. Now, here's a cool thing. Did you ever think you'd hear me call Rey Mysterio a heel? Because he definitely was a heel. He was down at ringside. He snuck under the ring when Baron Corbin got tossed to the outside and he was trying to get back in the ring. Ray pops out from under the ring apron thing and holds his foot so he can't get back in the ring, a la James Ellsworth in The Big Show. Wouldn't let him back in the ring, sets him up for a 619 and a splash, and Dominic gets the win. Now, that's going to be played off as a babyface just getting revenge on a heel who's bothered them for weeks. But that's not only a cheat, not only an interference, not only a numbers game. That's heel shit from the Mysterios. And you know what? I'm going way out there and I'm assuming things that I shouldn't assume. I would be down for a heel. I mean, at least Dominic, if not Dominic and Ray. I would be down for some heel Mysterio stuff. Let's just see how that can go. In the back, we have Big E being awesome, hyping up his triple threat match later on tonight for the Intercontinental Championship with Apollo and Sami Zayn, which is fine. And then if that doesn't get you excited enough about the in-ring content of this evening, we get a really short but really firecracker match between Daniel Bryan and Cesaro. Now, I will say, about halfway through this match, Cesaro got his bald head busted open, which just made everything look a bit cooler. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Whatever it is. but it just made, like, especially because he's bald. It's like Ric Flair, you know, the busted open head was always more noticeable because he had the bright white blonde hair, so it stood out. Same thing applies to a bald guy. Look at every time Steve Austin bled from the head. Collar and I can speak, I swear. Collar and elbow type. Sorry, both men trade some shots. There's a series of kicks by Bryan. Bryan tosses Cesaro inside out crossbody. Missile drop kick by Bryan, who then works on the arm. Uppercut is blocked into a pin attempt by Bryan. Uppercuts and body shots by Cesaro. Yes, lock by Bryan. Knees to the midsection by Cesaro and some round kicks by Bryan. I was going to say the Daniel Bryan silly kicks, but they weren't quite. It was a little bit more serious, a little bit more to the point, a lot less stagey in his performance was Daniel Bryan in this match. Daniel Bryan literally stomps on his face, and Cesaro comes back with a gorilla press into a backbreaker that looked disgusting. Big swing by Cesaro into the sharpshooter, and whisper it, because if we yell it too loudly, it might not be true. Cesaro got the tap out victory over Daniel Bryan in what like I say, very, very short, very concise, but very, very good match. He runs up on him after the match is over because Daniel Bryan's down in the corner, obviously selling his injuries, whatever, and it looks like he's going to attack him. He just sort of puts his fist out and fist bumps him. Now, that's cool. That's a you earn my respect kind of thing. It's also kind of a babyface thing. I don't know how interested I am in babyface Cesaro. Again, I'm speculating. I don't know how interested I am in babyface Cesaro, if for no other reason than I like him as a heel, but also his ex-tag team partner, Shinsuke Nakamura, is currently in the process of a babyface turn. So if they're going to eventually have a match against each other, one of them has to be a heel. It can't be Nakamura kicking AJ Styles in the dick. It is what it is. Very, very cool match. Very, very cool show of respect moment at the end. I just hope that I'm not overreacting when I say, are they turning Cesaro babyface? Because I don't know if I'm down for that. We see an interview in the back and Bianca Belair with some more crocodile tears as they throw to her Instagram and her parents overselling her victory in a video on Instagram. And her dad fell over the couch because he's so excited. Fuck off. Bayley versus Ruby Riott. Now, coming off the interview with Belair, I thought when Bayley came out that Bayley was going to have to face Belair because Belair tossed her out at the Rumble, which we didn't even see. Thank you for the camera work, Kevin Dunn. Bayley's taking on Ruby Riott. Ruby Riott's got Liv Morgan in the corner, and Billie Kay is on commentary talking about how she wasn't really asked to leave the Riott Squad. I love Billie Kay, if I haven't mentioned that already. Collar and elbow tie up and a corner toss by Bayley. Right hand by Riott. Pele and a beatdown by Riott. Back elbow. Javelin by Bayley into the top turnbuckle. It's bad anyway. But you get somebody that's a little skinnier, a little smaller, a little more lanky, like Ruby Riott is, and something like that just looks twice as bad. I'm sure it's not fun for anybody. Don't get me wrong, but it's just the way it looks. Second turnbuckle head scissor, top rope arm drag by Riott. Hangman over the bottom turnbuckle by Bayley. Super kick by Riott. Kay and Liv argue on the outside and it causes a distraction. Bayley hits the weird faceplant buster thing and gets the win. Now, on the one hand, I'm happy because Bayley got to recover after getting buried by Bianca Belair last week, which is good. Ruby Riott, who I'm a fan of, is facing people from the top tier of the brand, which is good. She's out there with Liv Morgan as part of the Riott Squad, and they're a tag team that I think is good. Billie Kay, in her own separate way, is hilarious, which is good. But Ruby Riott needs to win some matches. And I know I should be looking at that more in a tag team context, but I'm a huge fan of Ruby Riott. I really am. Not that I'm not a fan of Liv Morgan, not that I'm not a fan of their team, but it's one of those, like, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, Hardy Boys things. I would much rather see singles success for both of them than I would have for them to have tag team success, even though I wouldn't mind them having tag team success either. And I don't know. It's a lot of things that I like that were good here. Like I say, Bayley needed the win after last week because she got buried. Part of the Bianca Belair steamroller currently. Ruby Riott stepping up in her competition, which is great. She's still got her friend in her corner, so they've kept that story together. Billie Kay is doing the thing where she wants to be their friend. It's all building a good story and whatever. Unfortunately, somebody has to lose, and that's where we get really bad. Then we get a really, really bad segment where Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks come out there and lick each other's assholes for a while and tell them how great they are. And in the process, we bury Carmella and Reginald, because it wasn't bad enough to put Reginald in his first match on WWE television and not have him be able to land a single move other than dodging Sasha Banks. It's cringe. And this is the story. This is the propagandization that we're going to get for the next 60 whatever days until WrestleMania, because I guarantee you this is the match. I guarantee you this is the match. I guarantee you they're going to try and make this the main event of one of the nights. Shoot me in the face. Bring the comet. Self-induced coma. Something. No. Go watch this promo or promo segment, whatever the case may be, and try with a straight face to tell me that this was not the cringiest thing on TV this week. And let me remind you, AEW was on TV this week. Moving on. Otis and Gable versus the Dirty Dogs was a really good match. Obviously, the Dirty Dogs won. Dirty Dogs finally have tag team music, which is kind of cool. Otis and Gable are really good. Gable is in there doing some insane ground wrestling work, obviously, with Ziggler, who also has a great amateur background, so that's a lot of fun. Bobby Roode is Bobby Roode. He's got the glorious DDT that eventually ended the match. Gable, somewhere in the middle of the match, he hit the Rolling Chaos Theory suplex, which is nice. Otis is really entertaining. Now, what killed this for me, what took away from the match, but was also awesome in its own right, was in picture-in-picture, you had the Street Profits, who have been sidelined by Sonya Deville, which is a separate story that we can get to on another podcast. They're doing their own commentary on the match, and it's a lot of fun. It really just is. They are good. I wish, this is true for a lot of people, I wish that they were still on NXT, because NXT, let's be real for a second, even though there's a Dusty Classic, even though we're putting teams together, etc., the tag team scene on NXT is a little bit thin. I do like the Dirty Dogs, though, and if they're not telegraphing right now that it's going to be the Dirty Dogs versus the Street Profits at WrestleMania, then I don't know what they're doing. For reasons, we had a flashback to Andre versus Hogan 33 years ago. And then we cut to a pre-recorded video from Hogan, who was going to tell us who he thinks that Drew McIntyre should face at WrestleMania, except he just said that all the champions need to be aware of Edge, and I don't know. Didn't really serve a purpose in my books, if you want my honest opinion on the whole thing. What did serve a huge purpose was this triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Big E versus Apollo versus Sami Zayn. Big E being this larger-than-life character. I was going to say bigger-than-life. The pun is right there. I get it. As the Intercontinental Champion, shining by himself away from the New Day. That's not a dig at the New Day. It's just we questioned whether it was going to happen or not. Apollo is sort of in this interesting spot right now where he's technically still the babyface, but he's showing all these signs of frustration and potential heel turn, and they hinted at him joining Roman Reigns' group several weeks ago, so there's a lot of turmoil in that character. And then you got Sami Zayn, who's out there with his camera crew filming his conspiracy documentary. And on top of all that, it's just three great wrestlers, isn't it? And it allows for a lot of fun. Triple threat matches have no DQs and no countouts, so it lets you be a little bit more freewheeling with the action. Let's go. We start off with some power wrestling between Big E and Apollo, and Sami Zayn doing the typical heel in the triple threat thing where you let the other two kill each other. Body shots by Zayn. Back body drop by Big E. Rolling suplexes by Apollo. Looked really nice. Elbows by Zayn. Lariat by Apollo. Corner splashes for Big E and Zayn by Apollo. Zayn and Big E brawl to the outside, and there's an inside out senton by Apollo, and then an apron moonsault onto both of them by Apollo as we go into the commercial break. Choke on the ropes by Zayn. Drop toe hold into the bottom turnbuckle. Drop kick by Apollo. I really can't read my writing. It's late in the day on a Friday. It's fucking shit, isn't it? It's fucking shit. Those of you listening in audio, I'm just waving my clipboard around like an idiot. It's fine. Big E tosses Apollo out of the ring at one point, and and Apollo takes a really awkward bump on his hip on the apron on the way out of the ring. I thought it was a botch. I thought they were going to have to freewheel the ending of this. I was kind of wrong, or at least I hope I was, because I don't want to see anybody get hurt. Uranagi by Zayn, a splash on the apron by Big E. Apollo tosses Big E away. There's a frog splash by Zayn. Big E suplexes both men. Apollo's ready to do an exploder suplex on Sami Zayn. Big E just comes behind both of them and chucks both of them. That is unreal. That is unreal. I lost my place again. Haluva kick by Zayn, and it looks like Sami Zayn has the win. Apollo breaks up the pin from the outside as sort of a desperation, last sort of yanking him away type thing. Now, there's a cool moment out here, right? Where Sami Zayn goes out and yells at Apollo, "What are you doing? What are you doing? I had him." And he says, "It's a triple threat match." And he says, "I know." And he's just losing his shit on the outside for a second because he knows he was so close and yet so far, etc. Apollo gorilla presses him into the guardrail, but walks back into the ring, hits the big ending, and Big E gets the win. And we get that long, protracted shot of Big E celebrating on the turnbuckle, and Apollo Crews back to his feet in the ring, and any minute now he could attack him. And a couple of seconds of watching a guy that could do something is sometimes more impactful than somebody actually doing something. I hope that makes sense, because if they do the heel turn with Apollo, I'll be really intrigued, because I don't know. I think physically he could pull off the aggression of a heel. I don't think character-wise he's going to be a convincing heel. But in the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of people prove me wrong on that point. And I welcome the chance for him to prove me wrong again. Because if you get him as aggressive in the ring as I think he can be with a character to match, that match alone, let alone, putting aside the Christian rumor for a second, that match alone, Apollo and Big E on a larger stage, could be a lot of fun. Now, I will say, there is the rumor that we are going to get the typical IC Championship ladder match at WrestleMania. If that case, just throw everything at the wall. Put Zayn in there, put Apollo in there, put Big E in there, Cesaro, Shinsuke, Daniel Bryan. Oh, excuse me. And you know what? Even though I don't think he's held a mid-card title in WWE, only the main ones, I'm going to be wrong on that. Somebody's going to tell me down in the box below that I'm wrong as soon as I say that. But has AJ Styles held a mid-card title in WWE? I don't think he has. Throw AJ Styles into that mid-card title picture, and that mid-card title feels like a main event. No offense to, like I say, to Big E, who's holding the title right now and looks fucking fantastic. Looks like a mid-card gatekeeper to the main roster right now in the way he's holding that championship. But you get that little notch up if you throw AJ Styles in that match. He doesn't have to win. He doesn't even have to be the one. Okay, you don't get pinned in a ladder match, but he doesn't have to even be seen as the loser. Him being there, being that he's a former WWE champion, it elevates that. Throw a bunch of people in a ladder match. The first pay-per-view, the first show we've had with fans in literally a year, could be good. If you're not doing that, Apollo, Big E, on the heels of a heel turn, yeah, that makes sense. Words come together. And if he's a heel, put him with the Roman stable and whatever. But you're going to have to do some creative writing around if somebody from Roman's stable is going for a mid-card championship, why isn't it Jey Uso? You're going to have to do, unless Jimmy comes back and they go for the tag titles and then everybody has the gold and it's basically SmackDown's version of the Hurt Business, it's fine. Rollins is coming back next week. We get a short video package on him coming back next week, and it ends with I want to say a voiceover, but it's kind of a laugh over. It's the whole old heel Seth Rollins laugh with the I shouldn't do that, it's weird. Edge comes out, talks about his 7 months of rehab, and all he thought about over those 7 months was dreams and how dreams come true in WWE. He wants to come back to WWE because it's his home. He wants to come home. He wants to go to the Rumble. He wants to go to Mania. He wants to take back what he never lost, and that's why he won the Royal Rumble from number one. He puts over all three of the champions. He puts over Drew. He puts over Balor. He puts over Roman. How he's been talking to his friends, his family, even a stranger on the corner named Dave, who he should face at WrestleMania, and all of them have given her a different answer. Roman interrupts him. Roman comes out with Jay and Paul, and before he can say anything, Edge is already joking about, like, am I already that much in your head? You had to bring backup, etc. Roman, equally sarcastic, says, "You have my word. Unless I tell them otherwise, Heyman won't lay a hand on you," which I thought was really great. He says once again, he's like, yeah, that's why he's here. Jay's here right now because I'm in your head already. I'm already renting space in your brain. Roman dismisses Jay, sends him to the back, sends Paul Heyman out of the ring. He does the whole, you disrespected me, you disrespected my family, you need to acknowledge me. And he changed it up a little bit. Because the forcefulness of Roman's promo here showed insecurity in a way. Because ultimately, the choice is in Edge's hands. But he needs to be the head of the table, to be the head of WWE, to be the head of WrestleMania. He needs to be the main event of WrestleMania, and he needs the acknowledgement from the Royal Rumble winner. He needs to be seen as the guy that has the title that the Rumble winner wants. And I think it's a very, very cool psychological thing that they did there. And right as Edge is about to do something, right as he's about to say something, right as he's about to potentially tell us who he's going to face at WrestleMania, even though it's going to be Finn Balor. No, it's not. Suddenly Roman gets whipped around. He gets stunned by the returning Kevin Owens. And very, very quickly we go off the air, but not before Edge sort of drops the mic in the middle of the ring and leaves, kind of smirking, kind of amused by the whole thing. Now, I don't know for sure. I know all the rumors say that he's going to be facing Edge at WrestleMania eventually. They're going to play, oh my god, it's the spear versus the spear. In the meantime, there's Chamber and there's Fastlane before WrestleMania. I am very, very intrigued by a tag team match with the boys from Canada, Kevin Owens and Edge, taking on Jay and Roman Reigns. Am I crazy, or did they just set that up? Not sure. It could be really, really good. They're going to have to put something weird and wacky on Fastlane because that's the first pay-per-view that's going to be available on the Peacock version of the WWE Network, down for my friends in the States. Nothing's going to change for me up here, which is wonderful. It's very interesting. A lot of people have said recently they want to see Edge and Christian take on the Usos on the way to Edge facing Roman. But I don't think we have any timetable on Jimmy coming back, and it's not really been confirmed that Christian is like back. So a good substitute or a good sort of warm-up for WrestleMania, if Edge is leaning in that direction, would be himself and Kevin Owens taking on Jey Uso and Roman Reigns at either Chamber or Fastlane. I think they're all going to be in the Chamber, if you want me to be completely honest with you. But that tag team match on a weird sort of nothing pay-per-view like Fastlane would be, it's that cliche, it's the last step on the road to WrestleMania. It could be a lot of fun. We did a lot of good. There was a lot of cringe in the SmackDown Women's Championship picture leading into WrestleMania, but we make up for it with other things. Bayley and Riot having a good match, Billie Kay still being super entertaining. The current tag team champions we have on the men's side of things are good. I just wish they had more challengers. We had the great match between BRYAN and CESARO. CESARO busting his head open notwithstanding. We had a great triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship, which could lead to a lot of great other things, and potentially we've set up the main event scene for WrestleMania, though nothing has been confirmed yet, because Edge should come back to NXT and face the NXT champion, and I'm dreaming, aren't I? I'm just dreaming. Anyways, that's it. That's SmackDown. I kind of rambled through it because I'm really, really tired and I'm congested as hell, and winter sucks, and COVID sucks, and quarantine sucks, and everything sucks. But wrestling is still kind of good-ish. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all of these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, tagging out. Bye, guys.